Right, one. Welcome to the Thursday, the 21st of August edition of Vogan's European Outlook. The last 90 days has been firmly warmer than average across much of Western and Northern Europe here. You can see a little cool pocket into the Balkans, say cool, average, across Poland and into the Baltic states. But generally speaking, it's been a warm past 90 days. This is really the last 10 days of May, right the way up until today, the 21st of August. And you can see here, firmly warmer than average. Now, over the next few days, it is going to be a big weekend coming up here in the channel. I am going to be away, but I'm working quite hard this week in doing some pre-records. I've recorded some early winter thoughts that will get released on Sunday. There will be a European Outlook stroke tropical outlook on Saturday. Then on Monday, after the winter thoughts on Sunday, on Monday there will be the summer recap and scoring of the forecast. And then I will be doing an update from my location on Tuesday. All shall be revealed in the coming days. But you can see here, this is the last 90 days. This is the month-to-date temperature anomalies for Europe. And you can see that we are generally warmer than average across the majority of the UK and Ireland, near continent, France, Iberia as well. Now, looking at the last 3 days, so the last 72 hours, it has actually been fresher than average, particularly so northeastern areas. The bulk of England has been below average. Western Scotland, Wales, far south and southwest of both England and Wales. Western Ireland has been slightly warmer than average according to the CDAS data here. You can see here, Northern Europe here, big turnaround across Scandinavia compared to recent weeks, which has obviously been welcome, I would imagine, for the majority of the folks up there as well. Looking at the latest visible satellite imagery then, and you can see that we have got a fair mix of a high-level cloud around. We've got our air coming in from the northeast. We've got a lot of marine influence in that. And that is pegging back the temperatures. We've got this circulation over northern Italy. And you've got this bank of cloud here stretching from central France all the way into the northwest of Ukraine at the moment. Looking at the current temperatures then, and we are subdued, but slightly below average across most areas, and even struggling to get into the low 20s across the far southwest. We do have an Exeter 22, 23. It's showing up as 21.3, but it's actually the graphic showing 23. So we still have low 20s across the far southwest. Not a surprise that this would be the warmest region when you've got that wind coming in from a northeasterly direction. Very much North Sea cooled air across the bulk of the British Isles away from that southwest sheltered corner. Same for Ireland, not doing too bad at all here. 20 Celsius in the northwest of Northern Ireland here, 21, 22 perhaps down in the far south of Ireland as well. Looking at Europe as a whole then, you can see here temperatures a good bit cooler than recent times across Norway, Sweden and Finland, into western Russia. We've got some relative warmth across the central regions of Europe here, a little touch cooler across the UK as I explained already. Temperatures a good bit down across southern and portions of Spain, for example. Italy, into Greece, we've still got some heat to speak about, as well as Turkey. So the real heat is mostly across the southeast and southwest, albeit the temperatures have come back down quite considerably across this region of the continent. The coming nights, we do have clear skies, lighter winds. We have got also a slice of fresher air moving southwards from the north, and that is going to provide some chillier mornings, but the temperatures are going to respond as the high north of the British Isles builds back in over the top of the UK. We're going to cut off that onshore wind. We're going to see more in the way of sunshine and warmer temperatures as a response. We may have a bit of a sunshine cloud mixture, a little bit of fight back and forward, but you can see here as we move into tomorrow morning, back into single figures, holding on into double figures, particularly urban areas of England and Wales, perhaps southern and central Scotland as well. But as we progress through the afternoon, we still have this kind of fresher north and close to average south. Moving into the day on Saturday, we do have even a cooler morning. We may have a touch of frost in a few sheltered glens, for example. Even Northern England, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the mid single figures, I think. And then as we progress into the day on Saturday, see the temperatures starting to come up across the north, but also across the south, perhaps mid-20s in some spots across the south here. But it's as we move into the day on Sunday that we are going to start to see temperatures warming up. And the reasons for that is Erin over the western portion of the Atlantic at the moment here, creating a lot of fringe effects on the east coast of the US. That will start to move northeastwards through the course of the weekend, and it will start to essentially warm temperatures up as we progress into the late weekend of the bank holiday into the early portions of next week. You can see here as we move into the day on Monday, for example, we're back into the mid-20s across Aberdeenshire, for example, perhaps other parts of Scotland as well. Central Belt, we're seeing the temperatures responding, and the reasons why that is the case, mid-20s across the south, perhaps even clinging into the upper 20s across parts of England Monday into Tuesday. And it's all thanks to what is happening in the Atlantic Basin. This is a GFS model here. There is Erin. And you can see here that we've got so this is Tuesday 26th. So let's get back to the current period. That would help. So we've got a strong hurricane at the moment east of the mid-Atlantic region of the United States. We've got high pressure that is generally focused to the north of the UK at the moment here. What happens as we progress in through Friday, Saturday and Sunday? We've got the high regrouping over the UK and Ireland. We've got multiple areas of low pressure ahead of Erin that is going to have influence in terms of boosting the heights over the UK as well as Ireland. Now, as we continue to play through the course of the weekend, Erin is now starting to accelerate towards the northeast. We've still got high pressure over the British Isles and Ireland here. And you notice here this centre is pretty deep, and it is deepening as an extratropical system. So it's moving from warm water fueling to more the differential in the atmospheric temperature that creates a difference in driving mechanism for this area of low pressure. So it moves from tropical to extratropical, and then it develops frontal systems, and it's very much characterized by the jet. And the potential of the jet moving and actually almost developing as this system transitions from warm to cold core, the jet is actually going to almost reform or form on the southeastern flank of the low. And it then means that this system is pulling in cold air from Greenland, and it's actually going to re-deepen as this extratropical cyclone here. But it's the movement and position of this area of low pressure that is going to be critical in terms of how warm the UK and Ireland gets. I am convinced that we are going to see a warm spell early to mid next week due to the presence of this area of low pressure here. You can see even out to Monday, Tuesday of next week that we have got generally high pressure. Yes, we're maybe going to get some fringe effects from that system. The associated frontal system is going to move into the northwest of Ireland and the UK, generating more unsettled conditions here, but further south and east, warmer, drier conditions. That has been the story for some time. Then we've got another little feature here, if you notice, it develops here and then moves in an east-northeasterly direction. Keep an eye on that as well. That actually is likely to reinforce a trough to develop here. So we go from firm high pressure to low pressure, I think, towards the back half of next week due to the tropics. And so it's going to be interesting to see. So you can see here, the GFS model generally has this system moving up towards Iceland. And interestingly, the ECMWF has a very similar look to it. Again, high pressure, high, dry, warm across the UK and Ireland through the bank holiday weekend into early portions of next week. There's the system then moving east-northeast. You can see here that the high pressure is still remaining in control here. The core of the high then shifts a little bit east. And with this low approaching from the west, we've got more of a southerly component, pulling in some of that warmth from Iberia up into the UK and Ireland. And you can see here that we have this next feature that runs around the subtropical ridge. The remnants of Erin kind of does a little dance up towards the south and southwest of Iceland. There's a trough that kind of deepens in this region, and then we've got this little area of low pressure that moves in over the top of the high, then that is likely to push towards the UK and actually pull the troughs actually in over the UK as well as Ireland towards the back half of next week here. So it will be interesting to watch. Looking at the ECMWF in terms of the 850 temperatures, there's that little slice of cooler coming down that will provide some chilly mornings, has done over the last couple of mornings. But as we see here, there's Erin, there's the contrast in temperature, now fully cold core. It's developing fronts. It's almost repositioning the jet to the south and southeast. That is then creating quite a dynamic situation as we move towards the early portions of next week. The ECMWF model is trying to pull some warmth northwards here. The question mark is the timing between this warmth coming north and the frontal boundary moving in from the northwest is going to be quite critical. But even before we get here, we're going to have some decent warm sunny days for sure. And then you can see here that it becomes a little bit more mixed as we move towards the coming days of September. The ECMWF actually has a little surge of warmth towards the end of week 1 of September. That is obviously Fantasyland. There's no point in really looking at that and taking anything too literal with that. Looking at the GFS model for the same thing here, it's showing a little bit more warmth coming northwards with that circulation, the remnants of Erin, generally to that northwest position, southwest of Iceland, northwest of the UK and Ireland. That's allowing this warmer surge of air to come up from the south, and then you can see here that it becomes a lot more mixed and a lot more messy as we head towards next weekend. Let's put on the overview chart. You can see here how unsettled it actually becomes according to the GFS, but the initial is that Erin moves to the northwest, but it's actually this little feature that comes in behind it, and another feature that runs in behind. Notice the position of the high is now well out over the subtropical Atlantic by this stage. So going is the high. We've got much lower high pressure, much more lower pressure, should I say, and much more unsettled conditions to end August, begin September, and I think that is looking quite likely. So that is it for today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with more. Bye for now.